Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm a former Casa Mirna resident. I've been asked to talk to you about my story and my experiences at Casa Mirna as a part of our Community of Conscience virtual campaign. Bear with me, I'm just referring back to the, the writing that I have here. My story starts in Missouri. It wasn't all that unusual, at least for those of us who grew up witnessing and experiencing abuse. I had many lonely, loud, and dark nights growing up. And it's more likely if you're exposed to domestic violence in childhood, you will experience it as an adult. My father was an alcoholic and very abusive. My mother was emotionally detached. Um, and so my brother and I did the best we could to get by on our own. Fast forward to 17, my dad introduced me to two young women who were regulars at the bar he worked at. They shared their experience in the military and suggested that I should join. Influenced by my dad's coercion and desperate to get out of my dark family life, I enlisted. I realized quickly I wasn't ready for the real world, and I was lacking many skills when it came to protecting myself. My eagerness to please and trusting attitude did help me make a lot of friends, but it also led manipulators to take advantage of me. I did feel lost in the Army, but there was some comfort and familiarity in being told what to do every day. It was just like normal life for me. About a year in, I entered my first toxic relationship with a soldier in my unit. We liked each other and spent a lot of time together. So when our battalion prepared for deployment to Bahrain and soldiers started getting married, it seemed to make sense for me to get married too. Soon after, the psychological abuse did start, and my husband was discharged for an unrelated incident. He told me if I deployed, he wouldn't be waiting for me when I got back, and coincidentally, I got pregnant shortly thereafter. It was decided I would leave the military and be a wife and mother. Physical abuse began after our daughter was born, but I left quickly and never turned back. My next relationship in 2014 started out very different. It was a whirlwind romance that started out beautifully, but did turn violent quickly. In less than a year, I was pregnant, suicidal, with my home life falling apart again. I came out of that relationship to be faced with consistent harassment and stalking. He sat outside my house setting off my car alarm, had me attacked. He vandalized my car multiple times, harassed me at work, and finally I found a bullet hole in my living room window. I was in fear constantly. I was terrified, and I was forced to hide. For 3 agonizing years, my two little girls and I moved from friends' couches, a hotel, a new home, back to another shelter, to another new home. It was constant chaos. I knew we needed to get as far away as possible. I just didn't know how. A woman I met in a shelter close to home, who was from Massachusetts, told me about Boston and shared how I could find the help I was looking for, that I should move there. So I did some research and I called SafeLink. I called them every day for 3 weeks, and thankfully SafeLink was able to get me connected to an advocate at Casa Mirna. Now, within 5 days of speaking to that advocate, my little family drove across the country to a place I had never seen or been before. We were welcomed to a safe, private room in a beautiful neighborhood. What do you need? Will help you was a lot of what I heard first when I got here. The very little things that I owned that were stuffed in my car. We didn't have anything, so we needed everything: clothes, food, blankets, and so much more. All of that was gladly provided for us. We received unconditional support at every turn. Casa Mirna was walking alongside me the entire way. This was just about a year and a half ago that we relocated, and now we have our own safe and comfortable apartment. The counseling and residential team helped me address the trauma I experienced, build healthy boundaries, and it empowered me tremendously. My confidence in my abilities has surpassed all that I've expected, and not only that, I am now employed full-time at Casa Mirna, and I love it. One day, my two girls will hopefully see me as a model of resiliency and courage, and know that their mother did everything to ensure their peace and safety. After all these years, I have finally found my voice and my place in the world. I'm no longer a victim and not just a survivor. I am a warrior. I do want to thank you so much for listening to my story. Obviously, I care a lot about Casa Mirna and the impact they have on our community. I'm coming to you to ask to please consider supporting our first ever Community of Conscience virtual fundraising event with a donation. As I've explained, it was very hard for me and my children to escape domestic violence. Thinking of the families out there now and how hard it would be during a crisis like COVID-19, imagine how trapped this feels. Isolated, lonely, and terrified for your children. You would hopefully have somewhere to turn. Casa Mirna is the place that luckily I was able to turn. I know we can't do anything about this virus, but we can help the families that are suffering. Please go to our website at www.casamirna.org and donate today. Thank you so much and stay safe.